Good evening. This week's video, we were to use the database through the Jerry Falwell Library about the Americana imprints. I think I agree with Dr. Schultz that the search engine in this database is not the most user-friendly. Of course, anytime you're looking at old documents, you've got to look at typeset because you type in things like Joseph, and we know in older typesets the S's look like F's, and that is an impact on being able to search. But anyway, I searched Joseph Martin um, for this week's video in looking at the Battle of Kings Mountain, and I found two primary sources that corroborated the fact that he was an Indian agent at the time of the Battle at Kings Mountain. This is an interesting battle for me. I personally think it's one that we need to focus on more in standards as an important battle because it turned the tide of the war, in my opinion. The Southern Campaign is what eventually pushed the British back into Yorktown, and where, of course, Cornwallis ended up surrendering. But the battle at Kings Mountain could have had a completely different outcome if Joseph Martin had not been involved. He was an acting Indian agent at the time, and he was married to Betsy Ward. Betsy Ward's mother was Nancy Ward. Nancy Ward was considered, her title was the most beloved woman in the Cherokee Nation. And Joseph Martin used his connections through his wife to the Cherokee Nation to keep the Cherokees out of this particular battle. The Cherokees and the British had relations, and they were fighting, and they were allies at times. And the British used the Cherokees to keep the homesteaders up and down the mountain ranges in this area busy fighting them so they wouldn't be fighting the British. But in this particular battle, Joseph Martin was able to convince through his wife that the Cherokees needed to not participate in this battle on the side of the British. This battle is also very interesting to me militarily speaking, because we always know the high ground usually gets the win. Well, that is not the case that happened here. The British had the high ground and they lost the battle. The other factor is this: if you do have the over mountain men that come in, the Scotch, the Irish, that come over top of the mountain and fight on the side of the colonials and help them succeed in this. Joseph Martin is personal to me because he is a direct ancestor of mine. So this particular battle and his participation and his influence is an interesting topic for me. But being able to find the resources in our database that corroborated the family stories, as well as the other history that I have seen in sites and other research that I have done on him, really helped to corroborate these stories and show that he was actually there. So I kind of took to heart the suggestion of pretending like you were presenting a speech to the Daughters of the American Revolution, which is what I would have given on him, since he is a direct ancestor and was influential in the battle at Kings Mountain during the Revolution.